Hello Internet, my name is Persephone and welcome to my channel. Lately, I've been spending a lot of time exploring other people's houses, and one thing is very clear. Many of you have not mastered the art of clutter. It's that final step when building your house that pushes it from house to home. Adding clutter around your house is what makes it feel lived in and gives it that boost of personality that is uniquely you. Today, we're going over my favorite clutter items and how to use them on a basic level to add depth to your house. Welcome to my living room. Well, not my living room, but a living room I built with the purpose of demonstrating how to clutter for maximum effect. Many people are building rooms in their house just like this one. It's got a really good foundational design, but there's so much you can do to level up your space. What we're gonna do is just jump right in and decorate the room, and I'm gonna talk you through how I do it. I have a lot of clutter items set over here so that I can use them in the build to demonstrate. So we're gonna go ahead and just grab a couple of them. So I have these crates with the idea that I was gonna put them kind of between my couch and the fireplace to fill space. We're just gonna make it slightly bigger. And we're actually going to take the other one and leave it a little bit smaller and put it at an angle like this. So already we're starting to fill the space a little bit. All right. And then I have this barrel here. This barrel we're actually going to place here. And the way I'm going to use it, because it's an open barrel, is this is going to become a flower pot. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger and grab some flowers. I think just with the colors, we want to have a little bit of a contrasting color situation. So I think I might do the blueberries and the purple roses. So we're going to put them together. We're going to have to make the blueberries, that was the wrong item, the blueberries a little bit smaller. So we're going to go ahead and move the flowers down. Actually, we're going to move the flowers, make them a little bit bigger, make sure that they aren't clipping anything. I like them at that angle. And then push them down a little bit, and we're going to grab the blueberries and just kind of entwine it with the roses for like a nice color contrast. Something like here. I think that looks nice. Okay. So now we've filled that space with something, just a little bit of an eye-catching floral arrangement. So we have our crates, barrels, and now I need a chest. I'm gonna go ahead and put a chest over in this corner. This one's a really cool one because it's interactable, but because we kind of have like a horde theme going here, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just use like maybe this durable wooden chest. It's giving Orgrimmar, so we're actually gonna scale it up just a little bit because I want it to take up space, but not too much. We're gonna put it at an angle. Like I said, we're looking for lived in feeling and not messy. So that is a great little place for the chest right next to fireplace. So that kind of fills up the room a little bit of clutter for the actual ground. Our next option would be to add things like cushions. So I do have some cushions picked out to demonstrate. So you obviously can add these around your table. I personally don't like the idea of cushions in this setup, but you can clip them, make them smaller, and just kind of fill the space with the cushions. And then we got these as well. So I could very easily do something like this. There's also the ottoman, again, that you can kind of push in the corner and just it be clutter to fill up space. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that there. I think that's a good amount of floor clutter. The next type of clutter we're looking at is clutter to fill shelves, tables, and surfaces. So we're not looking at actual ground cover, more just things to make the bookshelves feel more alive, or maybe putting some things on top of the fireplace to make it feel homey, or things on the table. So I do have a lot of things picked out. We don't necessarily have to use all of them, but I did want to show ways that you can use them in maybe a little bit of a different way than you originally thought. Obviously, we have things like teacups that you can set on the table as if you were mid afternoon tea. You can also have, you know, mugs that can do the same thing. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one here. So the person sitting in this chair was drinking tea. The person on the couch had a mug. And then to make it feel like you kind of maybe just stepped away while you were in the middle of reading, we're gonna go ahead and add a book, but that one is default fairly large. So we're gonna shrink it. So now the table, you got up while you were reading to step away. The table has some stuff. We're gonna go ahead and throw this bag down on the ottomans. So you kind of like you just walked right in and tossed it in to the ottoman so you can deal with it later. And then we're gonna go ahead and find something. What over here would be nice to put on the crates over there? We just need something little. Maybe we grab a candle. The candle would be nice. We're just gonna go ahead and put the candle right on top of the crate. So now we've added depth to the coffee table. Maybe put some items over here on the ottoman and up there. We need something on the mantle. So what we're gonna do with the mantle is we're actually gonna go ahead and grab the little unicorn figurines, and we're gonna place them up here. We're just gonna add, like I said, depth. So we're gonna add those, and we need one more thing up there that isn't going to be too silly. That we have this pot. So we're gonna put this on the mantle. We're also gonna put some foliage in this, but this is gonna be a small one, so we're gonna shrink it. And let's grab some flowers. So we have purple and blue over here. We do want a pop of color over here as well. What if we just put some, no, I don't think the yellow looks nice. We want something that's going to stand out. So actually, we're gonna make this tree really small. It's just a tiny tree. It's fine. We're gonna put it in the pot. So that pot is just where this tree hangs out. We're gonna go ahead and rotate the tree. Not that way. This way. That's better. So now we have our tiny tree on the mantle, but you know, the tree's up there and it's not very bright. So we're gonna go ahead and take a lantern. I'm gonna go ahead and set a lantern up here with the tree. Maybe not that one. Let's go ahead and take this one. I think this one, it floats, and so it gives a nice effect on top of the fireplace. We don't want it centered. So one thing I think a lot of people have been doing, and you can definitely see it kind of looking a little off, is making everything symmetrical. Symmetrical is not good when decorating. We also have this candle. So we've placed that one on the fireplace. So this one we're actually gonna go ahead and place on the bookshelf over here, just right on top. It is floating a little bit, so let's pull that down. Right on top, just a little candle. And to join the candle on the bookshelf, we're actually gonna go ahead and toss a book up there too. Just kind of chilling with the candle. We have a lot of empty shelves, so you might think, okay, just put more books on it. Nah, that's boring. We have all this stuff that we can put on it. One thing that I love to do that I think a lot of people overlook is I like to use these cobblestones as essentially gemstones. So we're gonna make a shelf out of these where they look like little gemstones. So we're going to shrink it down and kind of rotate it. I've already dyed them gemstone-y colors. So if we put it here, it kind of looks like you have a crystal collection. So we have that, and maybe we add the glowing filigree lamp with it. So we got this one, maybe right in front of it, because you don't want people to be able to tell that it's a cobblestone path, right? We have the blue one over here too, so let's go grab this. Obviously, because they're the same shape, we're gonna want to rotate them so they look different, so where you cannot necessarily tell that it's the same item. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up. All right, so we're gonna rotate this first this way, and then this way. I think you can still kind of tell, so we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna cheat it forward. Not that one. Which one? That one. Well, it should work. And we're just gonna kind of nestle it in over here because this is our cool rock collection, essentially, right? That's what we're doing. We're building our rock collection. So now we've added some depth onto that shelf. There's one other item that I forgot to pull out that I want to put here, and that is, if I can find it, it's this. There it is. This is the hanging Genethys light. You're supposed to put it up like this, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna shrink it. It does put off light, which is unfortunate, but it'll just look well with the moonlight. I can go ahead and add it to the shelf like this, where it's like hanging. I actually don't hate that. We're gonna go ahead and put it like this, and then to fill in that empty spot there, I'm gonna grab the seed, and the seed is gonna go right here. I feel like the seed matches the like rock collection. I think that looks nice. That's your little rock glowy collection. We also have some other clutter that I really like. We have this cogwheel. This is a great one because it's long. So if you were to use it for, say, shelf clutter, it takes up a lot of the shelves. You just kind of set it up there, and now it takes up half of the shelf. So you only need to fill in the other half. And what a great way to fill it in, but with a basket. So we're gonna do the same thing. Shrink and set. So now that whole shelf is taken up. We also have these statues. These are great for clutter because you can set them in corners to take up spots. You can put them on top of bookshelves. You can put them all over the place. But what we're gonna do is put them up here. We're gonna shrink them, obviously, because they don't quite fit on the shelf. We just have to shrink them enough to where they're not poking out the top. So we'll put that one here, and then we'll grab the other. And we're kind of gonna mirror them. Now, I don't love the empty space between them. So you have a couple of options. You could just leave it. You can put a light or a lantern or a box or whatever. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a basket. We're gonna put the basket up here and we're gonna shrink it. But then we're gonna put something in the basket. So I'm gonna go ahead and shrink it to like this. And then we're gonna go back to foliage and grab the poppy cluster. And the poppies are gonna be in the basket. It's kind of gonna be like, let's just call it a tribute to the Loa. I'm gonna pull the poppies forward, so even though it's like not very bright up there, you can still tell what what it is, kind of being able to see it. I might pull the basket out a little bit. Let's see, where's the basket? Sometimes it's hard to click on them once you have a lot of things. Let's see, can I pull the basket out? There's the basket moving. Okay, so just gonna move these towards the edge of the shelf so that you can see them a little better, because why decorate a shelf if you can't see it? All right, so now we have most of the bookshelves taken care of. There's still some extra spots, so we can add a little bit more decoration. I love using this because it turns down and it kind of looks like a trophy. I like the idea of it being a trophy. So we're gonna go ahead and clip this into the shelf like this. So you can see the owl, but not what it's standing on. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this, make it real small. I might have to take it down a little more. This one's great because again, it kind of looks like a trophy when you make it small, but it also gives off light, and we like light. We're just gonna nestle it down. It is still a little too big for the shelf, so we're gonna go ahead and make it a little smaller. That's perfect. Again, it has a little bit of extra space. That's all right. I did want to show off this item here. This barrel, there's only one thing I use this for, and it's a drink can, because I think when you make it small, it looks like a beer can. So I wanted to show off this barrel because of that. This is the screw sealed stem barrel. And I think it looks like a little beer can. So I just want to make sure everybody saw that. All right, we still have a couple of empty shelves. I guess I didn't pull out enough clutter because it genuinely can take quite a bit to fill the clutter items. Basically, the things I pulled out were some of my favorites, but there's tons of items that you can use for clutter. I've seen people put a bathtub as clutter. So we're just gonna grab a couple of little things and fill in that extra space. There's all kinds of stuff you can put in. You can like do the little totem. Since we have items down there, that's actually a great idea. Let's use the totem. So we're gonna go ahead and do this and then shrink the totem like this. Up and back. Let's move the lamp post over. There we go. Beautiful. We do have one final shelf that we have not decorated. Let's see what we can find. What can we put on this? There's so many great options. I love the Naru crystal icon as, again, it looks like a little trophy. So we're gonna go ahead and shrink it and put this back here. Is it clipping? It is. So we need to go a little bit smaller. There we go. Off to the edge. All right, what do we want to put down with the, you know what? It makes sense to put an ink bottle. Let's go ahead and put an ink bottle down there. That's a great item. Definitely need to make it smaller though. There we go. I like to cluster things in odd numbers as opposed to even. So I almost will always do clusters of 3 or 5 on shelves just because I think it looks better. And then I like the movement. So we're gonna go ahead and use this too as our last item. And it's just gonna hang out. Perfect. All right. Now, the last thing I would do personally to clutter up this room, because it is starting to get to the point where it's almost too cluttered and not lived in. The last thing I would do would be add extra pillows. So we have these picked out. I already dyed them to kind of match the room. I would probably add them like this near the pillows that are already on the couch to kind of just make it look a little bit more full. and maybe adjust them down a little bit like this. Nope. There we go. There. We did have a couple of other items I pulled out. Those were just as demonstrations of what you can do as clutter. So I grabbed the goblet to show, you know, the difference in the mug versus the goblet as clutter. I think I prefer the mug personally. And then I also grabbed the telescopes. There's a couple of different telescopes. I prefer this one. This is the reliquary telescope. But basically, if I wanted to, say that there was still a wall here. Like I said, this is a fake room I built for this video. If there was still a wall here and say the door entryway to this room was right here and there was a wall, I might put this telescope like this. So let's go back to the wall. So let's put up a fake wall. Let's mirror it. So we got the wall and a doorway. So if this was the doorway I come into this room, I might put the telescope here. And now it makes this space feel not as empty. Now, if I were to complete this room, I would definitely throw a window up here. Not that it would be opening out on anything, but I like the yellow windows. So maybe I do this. No. Maybe I do this one. Maybe I throw this yellow window up. I'd probably put a drape there as well. But from what we started with to what this is now, I would say that this is a marked improvement as far as how it feels as far as lived in versus not. There's not a lot of points being used, but it definitely makes the place feel cozier, and I am really happy with what it turned out to be. Next, we're going to go over how to get some of these decor items. There are a lot of ways to get clutter decor items, but the easiest way is literally just the neighborhood vendors. Some of my favorite items come from the neighborhood vendors, and that includes the wicker basket, chests, barrels, cobblestones, pillars and cushions, and candles. Here are the ones that I got and used in the build today. Some of the other clutter items that aren't so accessible, but still there if you want to go get them, would include things like books, where there are tons of books throughout the world that you can get. But the easiest, albeit not the cheapest, is going to be the traveling book merchant in Stormwind and Orgrimmar, which has 2 separate books each day for 2,000 gold each. We also have the telescope that I used today that is from the Dragonscale Expedition Renown 24. We have the Westfall Woven Basket, which is a reward for the quest You Have Our Thanks, and you can purchase more for 170 gold in Stormwind. There's the Pandaren Stone Lamppost that once you complete the quest Welcome to Dawn's Blossom, you can purchase from Sage Whiteheart for 300 gold in your shrine. We have the Gnomish Cogstack and the Screw-Sealed Stem Barrel, which are both rewards for achievements in Mechagon, the Junkyard Scavenger and the Junkyard Apprentice, respectively. We have the Filigree Moon Lamp, which is purchased by Second Chair Pato after completing the corresponding quest to unlock it. The Idol of Razan, Loa of Kings, and the Idol of Paku, Master of Winds, are great clutter as well. Those are rewards for completing the quest to sacrifice a Loa or completing the achievement Pakuai, respectively. There's also tons of mugs and cups available, but the one that I used here, the mug, is probably the easiest one, in my opinion, to get a hold of. And you can purchase that after placing a Lunarfall Inn or a Frostwall Tavern in your garrison for the Alliance or Horde, respectively. Speaking of garrison, you can get the Younglings Courser toys, which were the unicorns I put up on the mantle, after completing Pool of Visions quests from the Horde garrison. We also used the Dranic Ottoman, which is from the Auchindoun dungeon from WoD. The Seed of Ages cutting, the little seedling that I put on the shelf, is a reward from gaining a hidden artifact appearance for Druid, and more of them can be purchased for 5,000 order resources in the Druid Order Hall. We also have the Sentinel's Moonwing Gaze, which is a reward for completing the Warden's achievement and can be repurchased for 30,000 bronze on Legion Remix. And of course I use the Riverbend Jar, which is 500 order resources and 300 gold from Ronza Greyfeather after getting friendly from the High Mountain tribes in High Mountain. Honestly, there are so many items that I didn't list that you can use as clutter as well. Don't just stick to this one list. Basically anything can be used to clutter up a space and make it feel more lived in. I really hope this video has helped some of you guys because I'm sorry, your guys' places look empty. It's giving that meme of this is what guys live like and it's just a folding chair in front of a TV. Please clutter up your spaces. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more videos by me, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to comment any questions, compliments, or concerns you may have down below.